Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, the podcast where we reminisce about our geeky childhoods with our ungeeky butterbeer. I'm Tim.
And I'm Frank.
And we're going to talk about quite possibly one of my greatest loves today.
Frank.
Today we're going to talk about my favorite geek, Frank.
Aw.
So, Frank, tell me about yourself.
Well, I really...
You can't do it again.
No more NPR voice.
No, please God, no. And so, they'll plug NPR is a great way to get all of your news. And so, except when they tell you the wrong news. Anyway, no, we're going to talk about Harry Potter today, which is just fabulous. I love Harry Potter, as does most of the Muggle and Wizarding world. Yeah, and so, I want to spitball a little bit here, but not really spit because it's gross.
Don't ruin the microphone. It's a nice mic.
I don't want to. I'm not going to get it wet. Nope, it's not returnable. All right, so I'm just going to point out that I was of the perfect age group for Harry Potter. And even though you're 2 years younger than me, I want to say that you were not. And this is why. When the first book came out, it was 1997. And it was June 29th, 1997.
Okay.
My birthday's in July.
That's right.
In which I turned 11. And Harry's 11 in the first book. And so I got the first book in July or August. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely soon because, I remember my mom came home with the soft cover of the book. Or no, she came home and she was making dinner and I came down, just like, hi, how was your day? Blah, 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 stuff like that. And she's like, I got something for you. And she said, go in my bag. It's a book. Just so unceremoniously, I got you something. So go over there. And she said, everyone's talking about it. I guess it's a huge deal. So I got it for you. I thought you'd like it.
Oh.
And so, which is fabulous of her to do such things for me.
Of course.
And so I started reading it. And I wouldn't call myself a voracious reader when I was growing up. I mean, I read, certainly, and I read a good chunk, but I wasn't the only thing I did. And I read it in a day, maybe two, something like that. And, I said, okay, I finished. And Mom was like, you done already? And she said, how was it? I said, it was good. I liked it. And I remember that. I remember specifically being it was good. I liked it. It wasn't oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I can't wait to read more. And then, but I remember as soon as I said it was good, I liked it. I remember thinking to myself, no, this was great. I stayed true to my answer. I kept it as it was, but I did not change it. So typical of me. No, I'm not changing my answer. And then to get the second and third books, which came out pretty close to the first one.
Yeah, they were 1 or 2 years apart at that point.
They were very, I can't remember. It was certainly in my sixth grade going into seventh grade year. Shoot, I don't know. How old are you in seventh grade? 12? Yeah. So going into my sixth grade year. But I remember, I can't talk for the life of me. I remember getting did you get the Scholastic book orders when you were a kid?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, those little flimsy magazine things. When you were talking about the Lego catalog in the previous episode, that's what I thought of at first. I thought of those
totally
books.
Totally.
And I ordered books 2 and 3, hardcover because they weren't out in softcover of Harry Potter. And I remember Prisoner of Azkaban came in it came in before Chamber of Secrets. And I remember thinking, I can wait for Chamber of Secrets to come out. Like, I can wait for that to come in the mail first. I could not wait.
Really?
I could not wait. So I read I read Sorcerer's Stone, and then I read Prisoner of Azkaban right after it, sometime later. And then it took like 2 months for Chamber of Secrets to come in. I guess it was super backwarded because, like smart other children, didn't wait. Or they did wait and read them in sequential order like you're supposed to. And so, spoiler alerts as we go into Harry Potter, of course. But I remember, Prisoner of Azkaban and, Scabbers is, not actually a rat. He's Peter Pettigrew, betrayed Harry's parents, blah, blah, blah. So I remember reading Chamber of Secrets and being like, stupid Scabbers. You're not who you say you are. You're just not a rat. And so, anyway, and then so it kind of spiraled. I'm just going to keep talking and then I'll let you talk. And then,
please go ahead.
And then I remember I'm just going to go through all of them because I remember specifically getting all these books. And so the fourth one, I remember, ordered off of Amazon. God bless Amazon. But we were leaving on a vacation and it was just getting released as we were leaving on vacation and I wanted to take it with me.
Yep.
And so I had to do overnight shipping. But of course, at the age that I was like, how does overnight shipping work? Do I get it the next day?
Oh.
What? Does it still take 2 weeks to come in, but we pay extra? I don't know. And so it came in, we were leaving, it came in the day before we left.
Oh, great.
It literally came in the day before we left. And I was like, yeah. So it was already halfway done before we even left on the vacation, but whatever. The fifth book, I was in high school, Order of Phoenix. I was working at a bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's
and
right.
which is sad. Well, it still exists. I shouldn't say that it doesn't exist anymore, just not in the location that I was working in. And they had there was a midnight party for the release of the fifth book, which was pretty common at this point for Harry Potter.
Yeah, sure.
It was hugely common. And I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So it was a midnight party, which I was in high school. I was 16. I wasn't allowed to work the midnight. Right. That's not allowed. That's illegal. And so my boss couldn't pay me, but she wanted me to be there and one other stuff. And so she said, I will pay you with the book. I will give you the book for free.
Oh, wow.
And that will be your payment. Of course, she made out here's a $20 book.
Yeah.
Where I would have paid you, a bunch of money and I would have gone to prison. So,
right.
But I was like, heck yes, I don't have to pay for the book. Whatever.
Amazing.
And so, but and we all had to dress up. That was the thing.
Oh.
And so I went as Hagrid,
of course,
cause I'm a big guy, so not tall, but I'm big. And so I went as Hagrid and I had a great time. My mom got me the costume. I mean,
nice.
It was certainly not,
your dad didn't make this one.
No, Dad didn't make this one. Nice, good comeback. Yeah. No, Dad did not make this one. Just Power Rangers and Peter Pan and many others. So I did that. Sixth book, I was no longer working at the bookstore anymore. I was in college by that point, and I got it at a general release thing. Mm-hmm. And book 7, was another general release party in which I remember waiting out in the parking lot with other people. I was in college at this point when that one came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just graduated. Actually, no, let me think about this. 2007. No, I was going into my junior year of college. Mm-hmm. And so, but I had I got it at Barnes, I pre-ordered at Barnes and Noble, over the summer when I was home, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my friend was like, oh, I'll just go in and get it for you when I get mine so you don't have to wait in the line. And so I ended up hanging out with all these people from high school that I had seen in years that were also getting the book. Awesome. And it was awesome. It was such a bonding experience. Of course, I read them all in a day's two time. It was very, very fast reads. And they've just stayed with me. And so I'll leave it at the books for now. You take it away. So I've been talking for 10 minutes. So.
No, it's great. I haven't heard you really talk about this that much, so it's been fantastic. For me, actually, I didn't come upon Harry Potter until I was in 5th grade, which was, I believe, 2 years later. So 99. Mm-hmm. 99. And my English teacher in 5th grade just did a big chunk of the course where she just read Harry Potter to us.
Best teacher ever.
I know.
I should start doing
Actually,
that.
she was not the best teacher ever. She was
actually, that's pretty terrible.
Well, but that aside, she was actually a very she was like one of my least favorite teachers. She was like very mean and strict and that kind of thing. But, but that like a big chunk of the class was she would read it to us, and we had to take notes on it and then be tested on it, or quizzed on it anyway. Mm-hmm. And so that was how I was exposed to the first book. And I had not
98. I did the math wrong. Harry Potter came out in 98.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Anyway,
still 99
continue.
for me.
Yeah.
So a
came
year
out
later.
in 97 Britain.
In Britain.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. 97 sounded right. I knew there was something right about 97.
Yeah, me too. This is why, because I knew I was the same age when the book was
right.
published.
Yeah. Okay. So, I first, that was my first exposure, and I didn't realize that there was already like, by the time we had read it, maybe it was the beginning of the year 2000. So, so maybe another book was out by then. So I went to the school library and they had like, I think the first 2 or 3. Yeah, the first 2 or 3. So a year later, I read 2 and 3 back to back, like on like Saturday afternoons, like really fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was like winter and it was cold. And so I was just like shut in my house, and I was just like, great, I'm just going to stay in bed and read Harry Potter today.
I would like to do that myself.
Yeah. Today. Now.
Today. It's not cold out. I want to do it now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But, that's how I read that. And then I read Goblet of Fire, I think around the same time, like the same way, more or less. Read them all very quickly.
You mean you didn't read Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix back to back? Like magnum opus over 1,000?
No.
It's like over 1,200 pages at that point? Yeah.
No, because what happened was I read Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix had not come out yet.
Oh.
And I then fell off the wagon before Order of the Phoenix came out. Yeah, I know. Wait. Listen.
No. I need to ask. Did you go to Harry Potter rehab?
What are the 12 steps? I want to know what those 12 steps are.
Expelliarmus. Drink some butterbeer. Eat some birdie bots.
Don't do this. Don't.
Have some chocolate frogs.
Don't do it.
Eat some more birdie bots. All right, I'm done. Continue. Read Harry Potter.
So yeah, I had only read the first 4, and then there was that gap between the release of 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. And by the time 5 came out, I was kind of preoccupied with other things. It was like a year later. I had different interests, and I just never got around to picking up. I kind of forgotten where I had left off, like what happened at the end of 4, because I'm just that kind of person where I just kind of forget sort of like, what happened last time? Oh, yeah, that. Okay, great.
I forget what happens between like 2 months of TV series.
Exactly, yeah. So,
but not Harry Potter.
No, okay. Well, I had. And I was sort of like, yeah, I mean, I liked them back, when I read them, but it's been a while now, and I don't know, I just lost interest. So I always kind of meant to go back and finish reading them. But it got to a point where so many years had gone by that I needed to start over. If I was going to do it the right way, I needed to start over. Mm. And that was like, well, no, definitely, that took me even longer then, because that was just a bigger task.
Yep.
More books to reread than to read the first time, so, 5, 6, and 7 came out. Never read them until about a year and a half ago. My friend Kara, my coworker at the time, but still a good friend, said she's the biggest Harry Potter fan I know, and she said that I needed. She knows that I'm a geek, and she's a geek too, and she was like, "You have to read these books. Like, it's really a giant gaping hole in your geekdom." And
I was going to say she was right. It's part of geek culture. It's like you at least watch one episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
See a Star Wars film. Watch a Star Trek episode. Right. Read a comic book. Mm-hmm. Like you have to like kind of fill the gaps. There's certain things you have to do. If maybe you're like a really big Doctor Who fan, but you're not the big of a Star Trek fan, but you got to watch like some Star Trek. Watch an episode. At least watch an episode to say like, yeah, I've watched something. Yeah.
Like we all have these things where like we emphasize one area of geekdom over another. Harry Potter was one of the ones that I de-emphasized.
Yeah.
So she really was putting pressure on me. Like, you have to watch. You have to read these books. And you have to start over because you didn't finish. So I was hesitant, and she finally, was like bribing me, literally bribing me. And so Kara, I don't think I ever told Kara this. So if I'm outing myself if I haven't told her this yet. I don't know if you're listening, Kara. I didn't really read them in the traditional sense so much as I listened to the audiobook.
Oh my God.
Jim Dale.
Dude, I love those audiobooks. I wanted to talk about them.
I know you did.
They're the great. Okay.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
you have told.
I
it was actually partly because of you that I did this. So I fired up my Audible subscription and I got the Jim Dale versions because those are supposed to be the best.
Although the UK would argue that Stephen Fry's version.
I thought Jim Dale was the
he's the American audiobook version. Stephen Fry does which are also very good.
Yeah.
I do recommend listening.
Okay, I will
because it's Stephen Fry.
I will.
Yeah. I favored Jim Dale probably because he was the first one that I heard.
Okay,
but
yeah. Jim Dale
rocks it. Won a Grammy.
Did he really?
He won a Grammy for
well
it.
deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved because that was an outstanding performance. So yeah, I listened to all 7 books that way and thoroughly enjoyed it. It took me maybe a month to do it.
Just constant listening.
Just constant listening, whenever I had a half-hour commute at that time and so twice a day I could listen also like on my lunch break or whatever, and when I was home, like I live alone, so I was just like whenever I'd have to do chores, dust, cook, whatever.
Listen to the audiobook.
I did the audiobook,
yeah.
Just showering, like anytime I wasn't doing something or watching something, anything I could just have it on in the background and still listening attentively, you can
do other things.
You can dust or vacuum while you're listening to an audiobook.
I used to listen to one driving. It's like I'm driving. This is what I'm doing technically, but I can still listen.
Yeah, that's how books on tape and audiobooks became big, was people driving. So yeah. I did that for like a solid month and maybe 6 weeks at most, and I listened to all seven books.
That's awesome. It's funny because Jim Dale's I'm going to call them Jim Dale's audiobooks, in some ways ruined my movie experience for me. The movie experience for them at the beginning, because I was like, I not only read the books, but then I would also listen to the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how I got them. Maybe like one of those like Napster type things. I think it was like the first audiobook I ever listened to, to start off. Great start off point. I remember going to the gym in like elementary school, and not elementary school, but high school, and like listening to the Harry Potter audio tapes like on the treadmill or whatever. But I distinctly remember watching the first movie and hearing somebody's voice and be like, doesn't sound like that. Not supposed to sound like that. Because Jim Dale's voices were stuck in my head. But I remember thinking, I was like, Richard Harris, you sound like Jim Dale.
Yes.
Robbie Coltrane, you sound like Jim Dale. I'm all right with you guys. Yeah.
Especially with the male voices, where it's like, whatever accent he puts on, or the depth that he gives a voice.
By the end of the 7 books, he does over 300 distinct voices.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I do know that he was very, and I think this is pretty common practice with people who read audiobooks, but especially a big undertaking with 7 books and 7 long books. He would ask, kind of like people who were helping produce the book to keep audio clips of like the voices that were recurring.
Of him, yeah.
So he could listen back, like, oh, okay, what does
this is what I did.
What does my Sirius
person.
Black sound like? Okay, great, got it. And then it's referenced, so he could make sure it's consistent across the 7 books.
Yep. Actually, when he did the first book, I get like they give him the book ahead of time, like this is what you're going to be reading, so read it. It's like preparing your presentation.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he didn't have time to finish the first book. And so when he was recording, he was learning everything new for the first time. And so he's like, and then Harry went into the woods and, saw the dead unicorn. And he was like, what?
Dead unicorn?
Yeah, but in his head, because he has to like do the voices and read it and record.
Wow.
And so he's like, that's a talented man.
That is a talented man.
You were going. And it's all new, and you're not flubbing it, and it's just, I'm sure he flubbed it somewhere along the line, but like he was reading it new while recording, which is cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. Very cool. And so I want to talk a bit. Those are the books. My love for them is strong.
Oh, yes.
I do try to revisit them. I got a lot to read that I do want to read new things, and so I always want to revisit them, but I have a hard time. Like I have a, when I was younger, I definitely could. I've read all of them probably at least 5 times each.
Nice.
And I will include listening to the audiobook in that reading, technically quote unquote reading experience.
As a rule, I do consider listening to audiobooks as reading the book.
Yeah, I know the story. I got the whole thing, and I as I did the Millennium Trilogy, like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and everything like that. I did the audiobooks, which I also recommend because one, the stories are great, but two, they know how to pronounce all the names.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I love those books.
Yeah, oh great. The first one was my favorite.
I need to
for
reread
sure.
those. Me too, but actually the second one my favorite, but I need to reread those badly.
Yeah, I don't know what the status of this now, but I recently heard, especially at the time we were recording this, that David Fincher is actually quite hopeful for the sequel.
Oh, great.
He says I don't know how fans are going to react because it veers differently than the book, which he said, but he said quite drastically it veers, and he it's different. But he says it's very good. It's just it veers, and so but they're very hopeful that it's going to go somewhere. Wasn't a huge fan of the second book of that one. I liked the first and the third one more than the second one.
I actually
like the reverse of the Star Wars effects. Yeah.
I think I like the second one best, but the first one has a very special place for me just because it's the first, and I never read anything like that before. When I read the book,
it's magical in a way that Harry Potter is not.
Yeah. But anyway, movies.
So the films, I was so excited for the first one when I saw the trailer. Okay. When I first heard they were making it into a movie, the geekdom kicked in. Like, no, it's unfilmable.
Yeah.
It's like 2000. So I'm like 11, 12. It's unfilmable because I know so much about making film.
I'm an expert, and I have spoken.
I have spoken. No, and then I saw that Richard Harris was cast, who I knew from Gladiator.
Right.
Yep. And then, and all these other people that I knew, Maggie Smith and Robbie Coltrane and Alan Rickman, and I seen these people peripherally and all these things. And so I'm like, yes, this is great. This is good. And I saw, and then the trailer came out and I'm like, wow, it looks good. It looks really good. And I saw the movie and I hated it.
Did you really?
It was not like the book.
It wasn't.
And I know people who's are still it's not like the book. I don't like it. And I've moved beyond that. The movies to me are good movies unto themselves. I don't think that a lot of them are great movies. I think I fill in the gaps in my head for a lot of context.
Sure.
Like my brother saw the third movie. He's never read the books, and he saw the third. I remember seeing the third movie and going, I was confused the whole time. But I think the movies as the years have gone have really increased visually and all this stuff. But I'm in the midst of when we're recording this, I'm actually going through all of them again, as I'm cleaning, like you're doing with the books. I just have them on. But the third movie started 30 seconds into it. I'm like, I'm mad. I'm mad like I was when it came out. Follow your own rules. Consistency. Harry's not allowed to do magic outside school. What's the first thing that he's doing in the opening scene of number one of the third film? Using his wand, over the summer to light a book under his bedsheet. It doesn't matter if it's a simple spell. The point is that he's not supposed to use it. It's the whole point of the setup of the second book and of the fifth book and at the beginning of the third book. It's there. He's not supposed to do magic outside school, and the film just breaks it.
In this place, why can't he break it in other places, and other things fall apart?
It just falls apart. Yeah. And the wandless magic and all this stuff. It just follow. I just don't like continuity errors. It really bothers me. So just follow your own rule. It's not that hard.
Because then it becomes a plot hole. It's
why can't you have done this at another time?
Right.
And then it's other little stupid things okay, that spell was red in one movie and now it's white in this movie.
Okay,
and I get visual aesthetics and everything like that and all, but it's just follow your own rules that you have set. It just bothers me. I'm done now. I still think the movies are really good. They have their flaws like every movie. I think, but for those of you who have only seen the movies and never read the books, you are truly missing out on something great. I think that's the movies are good. They're good movies, and I get why there's a following for the movies, but you were really missing out on a lot of just good writing. And if you've never read the books, and so, but you have something very special to say about the movies, don't you, Frank?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, so I saw the first one. I remember when I saw the first one, it was actually in school. It was the last day of
a lot of Harry Potter in your school.
Yeah, there was. It was popular. Actually, when we had it read to us, it was like just before it became popular. Like that after that, it became popular.
Okay.
But a couple years later, when the first movie came out, it was like the last day of class before Christmas, and like what do teachers do the last day of class before a holiday, before there's gonna be like a long recess of any kind?
Oh, they put on a movie.
Yeah, of course, put on a movie. They don't want to teach. Who wants to teach? The kids aren't gonna be listening anyway. What's the
They're not
difference?
going to learn.
You're probably caught up to the curriculum at that point anyway, so got another day of class to fill. Let's watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
There's a Christmas scene in it.
Sure.
ABC Family puts it on for 25 Days of Christmas.
Stretch.
Or, now it's like the 225 Days of Christmas
right,
or whenever they start it now,
Right.
but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. But it wasn't supposed to be a Christmas movie. It was just like, okay, here's this popular movie that just came out on VHS.
I'll give you $1 if you can tell me the last VHS tape made and what year.
I'm going to say it was Goblet of Fire.
You're wrong.
Oh,
It was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, was it really?
2005.
2005.
I worked at Blockbuster. That's
Yeah,
why
you
I
did.
knew that. That was the last
Okay.
VHS tape made to go out and get distributed.
Huh.
Star Wars.
Interesting.
Cool, right?
Didn't know that.
Yep. Okay. Keeping my $1.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, your dollar. They showed that to us, and I saw that movie, and that's all I have to say about that. I saw that movie.
I saw it.
I saw that one.
What'd you think of the second movie, Frank? Or the third movie?
The third one makes me mad every time I watch the beginning of it.
What about the fourth movie, Frank?
It's terrible the whole way through.
What about the fifth movie?
Stuff happens.
Yeah. What about the
some of which happens in the book and some of which doesn't.
What about the sixth movie, Frank?
Snape kills Dumbledore.
And what about the seventh movie?
They started finishing it, but then they didn't finish.
Oh, because they did an eighth movie, right?
Right.
Yeah. What'd you think at the end of that movie?
It was over.
Yeah. As you may have pieced together, because you're all smart, Frank has never seen the Harry Potter films.
I haven't seen
two through eight.
Nope.
He has not seen them.
No, and honestly, okay, Harry Potter, like I said, and people get so mad at me when I say this, it's just one of those deprioritized geekdom things.
As people get
I'm
mad at me for
sorry,
my not watch for my I don't want to say non-love, but like I don't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
It's not. I've tried it. It's
Look,
not my thing. Although I have tried the new season, and I
Peter Capaldi.
did really enjoy the first episode.
Yeah,
so
great.
ever enjoyed in an
Great.
episode of Doctor Who.
Great.
So
It could be that just this Doctor is more in line with what you like, but we all know geek really likes like everything. There's always that thing, at least one franchise that you're just sort of like, oh yeah, like I know about that. I've seen a little bit of it. I've experienced a little bit of it.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing.
That's right.
It's cool.
I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan.
Yeah,
like
I mean-
it's not. The trouble with being a tripling Trekkie. It's just
Sure.
like. But the fact that I can make that joke.
Yeah. That's not-
I know enough.
Yeah. So the point is, it's, honestly, it's not like I don't pick on Harry Potter. I don't have anything against Harry Potter. I really enjoyed the books when my friend pushed, kind of gave me the push I needed to read them.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed them. I'm just not a big fantasy person. I don't enjoy the swords and sorcery and magic and wizards as
that's
much
true.
as I
You haven't.
enjoy
Yeah.
sci-fi. I'm
Yeah.
much more laser than sword. You know what I mean? So like,
Yep.
that's just what I like. And people give me a hard time about it, and that's fine. They can do that. But I enjoyed Harry Potter, I think, to the extent that I'm able to enjoy it. I will watch the films, but kind of like I was with the books for a long time, where it's like, I'll get around to it.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I am with the movies right now. I'm like, okay, now I've read the books. I've experienced the full story to its absolute fullest, because
Yeah.
these are the
I'm going to
books.
say that you made the right call fulfilling
Of
that
the
side
two-
of the fandom.
Right,
Yeah.
of the two, it would have been easier to just watch the movies.
Totally.
But I decided to.
But Jim Dale gave you a better experience.
Did. Honestly, he did. He was
Yeah.
moving my mind.
Ooh.
He was.
That was a nice plug for graphic
audio. Yeah, that's right.
Which is great. I love graphic audio. It really is a movie in your mind.
That's true. Yeah. So that's where I stand with Harry Potter. I really enjoy it. I don't love it. It's just not one of my favorites. That doesn't mean I dislike it. You don't love it, that must mean you hate it. No, it's just not. It's like on
You
the
don't love
list.
America, that must mean you hate it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're with us or against us. Like, no,
Yeah,
it's not how it works.
right, yeah.
It's just, it's on the list of things that I like. It's not on the list of things. If there was 3 columns, love, like, and dislike,
Mhm.
it's in the like column.
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that on air.
Right. All right. So,
do you want to keep recording this for the next couple of hours so you feel safe?
Let's just talk about the shade of ink that they used. Did you notice that they changed ink between books 4 and 5? That was crazy.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, man. So much richness to this to keep talking about.
Shut up. All right. Now, I do want to ask a question before we depart. Are you excited for are you going to go see the new film that's coming out? You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Of course I'm going to see
idea what I'm talking
film.
about. JK,
just like I saw 2 through 8.
Our dear friend JK is writing. She was commissioned by Warner Brothers to do a script for film called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which was a book she wrote for charity, like a fake textbook, very small.
Yeah.
She quidditched through the ages.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic Beasts. And so there's a movie coming out, written by her, unknown director at this point. That's technically a prequel because it takes place in the Harry Potter world, the Harry Potter universe, but does not include none of the same characters because it takes place in 1920s New York. I
guarantee you Dumbledore is somehow in there in the film.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll show up somewhere, which is fine. I'm cool. I'm totally cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
That I have no problem with that. But jazz aged
that's cool.
wizards in New York.
That's cool.
And so, will you see that?
Yeah, you just that last jazz age wizard.
Yeah, I know
that.
Sold. I phrased it very carefully.
It's the Great Gatsby with wands.
That's what. When that was announced, that's what everyone said. That's the Great Gatsby with wands. Yeah. Why would you not go see that? Even if you're not a big fantasy person, that sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're not a big Gatsby fan, that sounds like a great movie. It works both ways. Yeah. And so that's pretty much where the Harry Potter world is right now. You can go to pottermore.com if you want more, which I didn't check out a lot. And then I saw something not too long ago. I mean, I'm behind on the Pottermore thing, but I guess she released some article. Like she wrote like a fake Daily Prophet article.
Oh, nice.
That, as opposed to the real Daily Prophet articles, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was like, they basically like Rita Skeeter reporting on the Quidditch World Cup, but it's like them as adults. And it's like, it's her kind of like correcting things. She wasn't a fan of the way she ended the book. Cause she always said like, I shouldn't have put Hermione and Ron together. They'd end up in couples counseling. She's like, I shouldn't have done that.
I think
I don't think so, but she's the author, right?
Sure.
And she's like, I made them all Aurors. They really should have gone and done different things.
Sure.
And so she like kind of like fixes those little mistakes that she feels she made at the end. So Harry's still an Auror, and then Hermione is the head of magical law enforcement, which is something different. And Ron went to go help at the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, the shop in Diagon Alley.
Yep.
So I thought like they really she went and spread them out and go do the different things. But one of the best things she did was, it's not necessarily a tease. It is a tease, but nothing's coming later. But she said she wrote that Harry's got a new scar on his face, and it was like one of those more trouble to come or something of the past or something like that. That was really good because now I want an adult Harry, like fighting something new where he gets that scar. That was really.
I think that's bound to happen, though, don't you?
She said no, but George Lucas said that he isn't going to receive Star Wars or this and that, or there's no Indiana Jones, there's more Indiana Jones, there's this, there's that, it's all over the place. And so, how old is she? She's young. She's. I think she's only in her 40s. And so
she's 49. You're right.
Oh, called it.
I thought she was in her 50s.
I am a fan.
You're right.
Yeah. And so totally time for more if she really wants to go and revisit that world.
Oh,
again.
absolutely. I mean, I could totally see in like 10 years.
The thing with revisiting worlds like that, you're always you're dogging yourself into a corner when you say like, it's not as good as the original.
Of course.
Something's different, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. It's always different. But anyway, let's drop it there.
Yeah, I think so.
And so any final thoughts?
Loved the 2nd through 8th movies though, man.
They are spectacular.
The best, especially with the film.
Just sip your butterbeer. Okay, just there you go. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, well, before I'm gonna reverse. I'm gonna time turner this.
Yeah, that happens.
And go back a few minutes. Frank, tell the nice people what they can do.
Well, they can leave us an iTunes review. That would be really appreciated. Just go on to iTunes and search for Beer with Geeks. We really appreciate those of you who've left us reviews already. If you haven't yet, we would really love it if you could just take a second there and just tell people how you feel about the show. Hopefully you enjoy it enough to leave us 4 or 5 stars. That'd be great. And also, we would love to read your emails, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. Unless you tell us otherwise, we'll go ahead and read them on the show. Otherwise, tell us if it's not cool. We'll still read them. We'll write back to you maybe, and that'd be great. Tweet at us at beerwithgeeks. Great way to just kind of interact with us, find out when a new episode comes out, send us show topic suggestions, all that fun stuff.
You can also send us an owl at psherman42 while you Sydney.
I think that's the wrong. Yes.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
This podcast is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. All character names, sound effects, and quotes are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Thought Bubble Audio Studios unless otherwise indicated.
What?
I kind of wish we were recording that. Oh, we are.